The Mediterranean sun streamed through the villa's ancient windows as I stood frozen, my mother's words hanging in the air like a storm cloud. This villa belongs to Marcus now. You need to leave. I'm Sophia, 32, and for the past 2 years, I've been living in and restoring my grandfather's historic villa in southern Italy after his passing. Now, during our annual family reunion, my parents had chosen to ambush me with this announcement. My younger brother Marcus stood smugly beside them, his wife Victoria clutching his arm with a triumphant smile. The same brother who hadn't visited Grandpa once during his final years, too busy building his empire of failed startups in Silicon Valley. You can't be serious, I said, my voice steady despite the trembling in my hands. Grandpa left the villa to me. I have the papers. Papers can be changed, my father declared, pulling out a folder. We've had our lawyer review everything. As the only male heir, Marcus has the rightful claim to the family estate. The gathered relatives murmured among themselves. Aunt Maria, Grandpa's sister, watched from her corner seat, her dark eyes narrowing at my parents' performance. The only male heir. I laughed incredulously. This isn't 1850. Grandpa specifically left the villa to me because I was the only one who cared about preserving it. Preserving it? Marcus stepped forward, gesturing around the room. Look at this place. It's stuck in the past. My development plans will turn this into a luxury boutique hotel. We'll make millions. I looked around at the room he was so casually dismissing. Every inch of this villa held memories. The hand-painted ceiling frescoes Grandpa had restored himself. The ancient olive wood beams he'd lovingly maintained. The marble floors where he taught me to dance during summer visits. You want to turn our family home into a hotel? My voice cracked. It's just business, sis, Marcus shrugged. You can have a job here if you want. Maybe in housekeeping. Victoria laughed, and I saw my mother hide a smile behind her hand. The same mother who'd once spent summers here with me, helping Grandpa tend his olive grove. I've spent 2 years restoring this place, I said. I've used my entire savings, learned traditional restoration techniques, worked with local artisans. And we appreciate your hobby, my father interrupted. But it's time for professional management. Marcus has investors ready. Investors? Aunt Maria's voice cut through the tension. She stood slowly, her small frame commanding attention. Interesting. Have you shown them the study yet, Sophia? My parents exchanged confused looks. The study. Grandpa's private sanctuary had remained locked since his death. He'd left me the key with specific instructions not to open it until the right moment. What about the study? Marcus demanded. Aunt Maria smiled mysteriously. Alessandro always said the villa's true inheritance was in his study. But then you wouldn't know that, would you? You were too busy to visit when he was alive. I felt the weight of Grandpa's key in my pocket, where I carried it every day for 2 years, waiting for that right moment he'd spoken of. Open it. Aunt Maria nodded to me. I think your grandfather would say this is the right moment. With trembling fingers, I pulled out the old brass key. My parents and Marcus followed as I walked to the heavy wooden door that had remained sealed for 2 years. The key turned smoothly in the lock. The door creaked open, revealing Grandpa's sanctuary. Everything was exactly as he'd left it. His desk, his books, his collection of maps and documents. But it was the large envelope on his desk that caught everyone's attention. On it, in Grandpa's elegant handwriting, was written, "To be opened when they tried to take it from you, my dear Sophia." What is that? Marcus lunged forward, but Aunt Maria blocked his path with surprising agility. Your grandfather knew this day would come, she said softly. He knew they would try to take his legacy from the only one who truly understood its value. I picked up the envelope, my heart pounding. Whatever Grandpa had left in this room, whatever message or document was waiting in this envelope, I knew it would change everything. Open it, Aunt Maria encouraged, while my parents and Marcus watched in tense silence. As I broke the seal, I could almost hear Grandpa's voice, smell his familiar scent of tobacco and olive wood. The right moment had finally arrived, and I knew nothing would ever be the same after this. Little did my family know, Grandpa's study held secrets that would shatter their plans and reveal the true meaning of inheritance, one that had nothing to do with gender or business plans, and everything to do with love, respect, and preservation of our family's real legacy. With shaking hands, I opened the envelope. Several documents slid out, along with a letter in Grandpa's distinctive handwriting. The afternoon sun filtering through the study's windows illuminated the papers as I began to read aloud. My dearest Sophia, if you're reading this, they've finally shown their true colors. Your parents and brother have never understood that our villa isn't just property. It's the heart of our family's history. But you, my dear granddaughter, always understood. Marcus scoffed, but Aunt Maria silenced him with a sharp look. I continued reading. What they don't know is that this villa holds more than just memories. In 1943, during the war, our family protected priceless artifacts from looters. The Italian Heritage Commission granted our family permanent protected status for this service. The villa isn't just a house. It's a registered historical monument. My father's face paled. That's impossible. I shuffled through the documents, finding official papers from the Italian government. It's all here. The villa can never be commercially developed or significantly altered. Any changes must be approved by the Heritage Commission. Those papers could be outdated. Marcus stepped forward, his business facade cracking. My lawyers can find a way around. There's more? I interrupted, returning to Grandpa's letter. I've watched you restore these walls with the same love I once had. While your brother sent birthday cards and Christmas gifts, you spent every holiday here, learning our family's stories, understanding our legacy. Victoria tugged at Marcus's sleeve. Surely we can contest this. The hotel project is dead, Aunt Maria declared. Alessandro made sure of that. I pulled out another document, this one newer. The Heritage Commission approved my restoration project last year. Grandpa submitted it before he died. The villa is now officially under historical protection, with me as its designated custodian. You knew about this? My mother turned to Aunt Maria accusingly. Of course I knew. I helped Alessandro prepare everything. We both saw how you all treated this place, like a commodity to be sold to the highest bidder. More papers slipped from the envelope. Photographs, old letters, and a detailed inventory of every historical feature in the villa. Grandpa had documented everything, creating an unbreakable chain of heritage that no developer could touch. This is ridiculous, Marcus exploded. I'm the son, the male heir. This villa should be mine to what? I stood up, feeling Grandpa's strength flowing through me. To destroy? To turn into another soulless luxury hotel? Look around you, Marcus, really look. I gestured to the study's walls, where maps showed the villa's centuries-old olive groves, the ancient well system, the historical gardens. Every stone, every beam, every fresco tells our family's story. This isn't a business opportunity, it's our heritage. Your brother's right, my father started, but Aunt Maria cut him off. No, he's not. And deep down, you know it. She walked to a portrait of Grandpa hanging on the wall. Alessandro watched all of you chase money and status, forgetting where you came from. Only Sophia remembered. I found another note in the envelope, this one addressed to my parents, to my son and daughter-in-law. I love you, but you lost your way. The villa isn't a possession to be fought over. It's a responsibility to be honored. Sophia understands this. Let her show you how to remember. My mother sat heavily in Grandpa's old leather chair, the fight draining from her face. All those summers we spent here, remember? She asked my father softly, before we got caught up in Marcus's business ventures and social climbing. Marcus wasn't ready to give up. But the investors can invest somewhere else, I said firmly. This villa stays in the family, preserved as Grandpa wanted. You're welcome to visit, to reconnect with our heritage, to let your future children know their history, but it will never be a hotel. Victoria pulled Marcus toward the door, whispering urgently about calling their lawyer. But looking at the official Heritage Commission seals, we all knew it was over. My father stood silently, running his hand along Grandpa's bookshelf. He collected these books for years, he said quietly. I used to help him organize them every summer. The shelf is exactly as you left it, I told him. I never changed it. Something shifted in the room's atmosphere. My mother wiped tears from her eyes, looking around as if seeing the study for the first time. Aunt Maria smiled knowingly. Alessandro always said the villa would choose its own guardian, she mused. He just helped make it official. As the sun began to set, casting long shadows through the study's windows, I felt Grandpa's presence strongly. He'd given me more than just the villa. He'd given me the means to protect our family's soul. There's one more thing, I said, pulling out the final document. Grandpa left detailed plans for restoring the entire estate, including the olive groves. He hoped it would be a family project. My parents exchanged glances, memories of happier summers flickering in their eyes. Even Marcus paused in the doorway, looking back at the study where he'd once played as a child. The villa had spoken. Now it was up to them to listen. 1 year later, I stood in the villa's restored garden, watching my family gather for our first olive harvest since Grandpa's passing. The transformation wasn't just in the villa's restored beauty, it was in the people around me. Marcus sat under an ancient olive tree, teaching his young daughter, born 3 months ago, about the different types of olives, reading from one of Grandpa's old notebooks. After the study revelation, he'd initially retreated to lick his wounds, but something unexpected happened. The birth of little Isabella had shifted his perspective entirely. "Sophia," he called out, waving me over. "Remember how Grandpa used to say each tree had its own personality? I found his notes about this one. It's over 300 years old." The brother who once saw only profit margins now spent weekends learning traditional olive cultivation. His hotel investors were long gone, replaced by a genuine interest in preserving our family's agricultural heritage. My parents had undergone their own transformation. Mom was in the kitchen, recreating Grandpa's traditional recipes with Aunt Maria, while Dad led tours for local schoolchildren, sharing our villa's wartime history of protecting artifacts. The Heritage Commission was impressed with the restoration, Aunt Maria said, joining me in the garden. "They're considering making the villa a center for traditional agricultural education." I nodded, watching Victoria help her daughter touch the gnarled olive tree trunk. My sister-in-law had surprised everyone by becoming passionate about the villa's historical gardens, even taking courses in Mediterranean plant conservation. "Grandpa would love this," I said softly. "He knew it would happen this way," Aunt Maria smiled. "That's why he left such detailed instructions. The study wasn't just about legal protection. It was about giving everyone time to remember what matters." She was right. The past year had been about more than just physical restoration. Every weekend, family members would arrive, helping with different projects. My parents restored the library. Marcus worked on the olive groves, and even distant cousins contributed their skills. The villa was alive again, but differently than before. Not as a luxury hotel, but as Grandpa had envisioned, a living connection to our past and a bridge to our future. "Lunch is ready," Mom called from the terrace. The long wooden table that had witnessed countless family meals was set again, laden with traditional dishes made from our own olive oil. As everyone gathered, I noticed Marcus hanging back. "Everything okay?" I asked him. He bounced Isabella gently in his arms. "I was wrong, Sophia. About everything. I was so focused on building something new that I couldn't see the treasure we already had." "The villa has enough room for new dreams," I assured him, "just not at the expense of its soul." "Isabella will grow up knowing her heritage," he said firmly. "Not just the property, but the values, the history, the connection to the land." Over lunch, surrounded by family, the conversation flowed freely. Dad shared stories about helping Grandpa restore the frescoes as a boy. Mom remembered learning to cook in the villa's kitchen. Even Victoria contributed, discussing her plans for reviving the historic herb garden. "I found something else in the study," I announced, pulling out a weathered journal. Grandpa's complete family history going back generations. He wrote it during his final year. The table fell silent as I opened it. He wrote about each of us, what he hoped we'd remember, what he dreamed we'd become. "Read it," Marcus urged, surprising everyone. "We should know." As the afternoon sun painted the villa's walls with golden light, I read Grandpa's words. He wrote about love, legacy, and the true meaning of inheritance. About how buildings can hold more than just people. They can hold the stories that shape us, the traditions that guide us, and the love that binds us. The villa was never about ownership, I read from his final entry. It was about stewardship, each generation adding their own chapter while preserving those that came before. Sophia understood this instinctively, but I always hoped everyone would remember eventually. Looking around the table at the faces of my reconciled family, I knew Grandpa's hope had been realized. The villa hadn't just been saved, it had saved us, bringing us back to what mattered most. As the sun set over the olive groves, casting long shadows across the ancient stones, I could almost hear Grandpa's laugh in the evening breeze. His beloved villa was more than preserved, it was cherished, alive with new memories while honoring the old. The study's revelation hadn't just protected the villa's structure, it had restored our family's foundation. And that, I knew, was Grandpa's greatest legacy of all.